Hello and welcome to the program. I am Deji Badimosi. Now, after months of waiting with bated breath by members of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, the governors of the party have finally taken major decisions to put the affairs of the party back on track. Now, this is after governors of the party finally met with President Muhammadu Buhari earlier in the week. The governors tabled their decisions on the forthcoming national convention of the party before the president during the meeting, of course, which lasted for about 15 minutes. At the end of the meeting, the governors were able to agree on a zoning formula for the party's positions. Here is how Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai explained it.
We have agreed a zoning formula for all the 6 geopolitical zones, and essentially we swapped northern zones will take positions that southern zones had in the last 8 years, and vice versa. It's a very simple, equitable, and fair formula. We will now go back and consult at the zonal level and look at the positions that are available, and the process of the convention preparation will start in earnest. So by the grace of God, on the 26th of March, we would have done our national convention. Whether we'll do the zonal convention before that or do it at the same time, again, the constitution is silent, so as our chairman said, we can decide either way. But let nobody leave this room with any doubt that the progressive governors are united on the convention, on the future of the party, on our commitment to ensure that the People's Destruction Party doesn't come back to power.
Now, it's still not known if that arrangement will be adopted to produce the candidate of the party for the presidential election coming up in February 2023. But some people have said, even though the APC has not said so, by taking that decision to zone the party offices in its upcoming national convention, the party has effectively zoned its presidential ticket to the south of the country. Again, there's been no clear word from the party to that effect. We just have to wait and see how things actually pan out on that. Now, the governors also revealed that President Muhammadu Buhari is in favor of the consensus option now to select candidates for party offices during the national convention, which has now been fixed, of course, for March the 26th. The governors, however, clarified that they were only divided on the timing of the national convention, as some of them were of the opinion that there were still many unresolved issues that needed to be attended to. Now, this is what the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum and Governor of Kebbi State, Atiku Bagudu, had to say about that.
Mr. President reminded us of that we have produced a number of national chairmen by consensus. Baba Kande emerged as the pioneer chairman of the party by consensus. His Excellency John Oyegun emerged by consensus. His Excellency Adams Oshimole emerged by consensus. So he is a believer in consensus as one of the options of producing leadership.
Well, let's discuss all of this further. I'm being joined on the program from Abuja by Tonya Iso-Karriere, who is a political affairs analyst. Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Mr. Iso-Karriere. Let me start by asking you what you make of the resolutions that the governors reached there with the president.
Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon. So the governors, they have come up with a resolution and they have said to Nigerians what it is. Originally, myself and a group of other people within the APC were saying that we needed the February 26th to be a sacrosanct date. However, in our pursuit to pursue youth inclusiveness in the governance structure of the APC, we have gone around, as a group, the Progressive Youth Movement, gone around as a group to analyze some of these, issues that we've had within the party and, the inability for some of our leaders to carry the young people along in their decision-making process. Before, they met with the president, the governors met with the president, they called, some of us, the Progressive Youth Movement, and other stakeholders within the youth wing of the party to discuss on some of these issues. Gave us reasons why the dates needed to be moved, and why certain actions have been taken. And for us, we felt some of the things that we set out to pursue was, number one, youth inclusiveness. Number two, having a leadership that communicates effectively to the people. And number three, having a convention, that will be free and fair, or will be fair to every APC member, especially the young stakeholders within the party. So as far as we're concerned, as young stakeholders, they have communicated to us and brought us to the table for decision in terms of the decisions they've taken, which is a win for us. And the second one is they've told us that the March 26 dates that they announced will not change, that is going to be, sacrosanct, and they've given us the reasons why the February 26th one needed to be changed, and which, we saw reasons with. And the third one is that they were going to include us in a decision-making process, which they have also done, because several members of the young the young progressives, have been put as members of the convention committee, and the youth mandates that we set out for them, we submitted to them. They are also looking into ensuring that some of those seats at the National Working Committee are reserved for the young people.
But let me quickly ask you. Let me quickly ask you this. Sorry to interject. Are you people, I mean, for those of you in the youth progressives now, are you satisfied with the decision to select, or so to speak now, to select a consensus, the party leadership now by consensus? Does this consensus idea, does it resonate with you? Because obviously, the impression that tends to give is that it closes the space to some other people who might be interested in contesting. So it means, well, a decision has to be made to just pick consensus candidates for all the various positions. I don't know. Is it something that you're all down with?
From what I've been told and what I've heard, the president had said that for them to produce a consensus, leadership, or a consensus chairman, as the case may be, that certain, stakeholders should be carried along. And I feel that those conversations are still being taken place to date as we speak.
Is it that the consensus will only apply to the chairmanship position, and maybe the others might be by election, so to speak?
Like I said, it is a conversation, so nothing is off the table. There's still a process of having a proper elections where people actually vote for the leadership. But the reason the conversation of consensus is as a result of the president saying that the former chairman, right from inception with Apc, has always been consensus. So at the end of the day, what I will say is that let the conversations keep happening, and at the end of the day, we believe that the leadership will do what is right. And even if it comes to a consensus, every stakeholder within the party should be carried along to arrive at that consensus. Consensus in itself, there's nothing wrong with it. It's only when the only when there'll be an issue is when people are not carried along, and in this case, we are talking about the youth, the young people, the young progressives. And as far as I'm concerned, the young progressives, as of today, are being carried along in the day-to-day process of how they arrive at certain things they want to arrive at. So for us, it's a win for us, because this was something that we fought tooth and nail, for. So I would say that the consensus angle is still an angle, but I'm not sure that it's a conversation that is still ongoing. I'm not sure that it's sacrosanct in terms of, it must be consensus. By the end of the day, we're trusting our leaders to do what is right, and they've given us their word that the convention date will hold. They've given us their word that will be carried along. Where we'll now have issues is when they don't keep up to their words. So for now, we've decided to sheath our sword and allow them to do what needs to be done.
Okay, let's talk about the big decision that your party still has to make, and that's where the next president or the presidential candidate of your party is going to come from. Now, would you say, because some people have said that, and I just want your take on it, Could we say that by effectively swapping, just the way the governor of Kaduna State explained it, they're swapping positions now for the national leadership of the party, swapping between the north and south? Could we effectively say that essentially means that the party has, even though it has not announced it, that it has actually zoned the presidency now to the south of the country, its presidential ticket?
Well, when we get to that bridge, we will cross it. But as at now, that today there's not been an effective communication that says that it's been zoned to the south. However, in my own personal right, I would say that I think zoning the presidency to the south is a good idea. Because it shows equity and fairness, to each and every Nigerian, that lives, will call themselves Nigerians. But however, at the end of the day, we will need to look at, an holistic overview of some of these things. And at the end of the day, the party will come up with the right decision as to, where to zone the position to.
Do you get the impression that even the PDP too is waiting for your party to take a decision on that? Because the PDP appears to be doing the same thing that your party is doing. I mean, they've been prevaricating on the issue of where their presidential ticket is going to go to.
And like every democracy, the ruling party is always, the one that, dictates, a lot of things. So I can understand if, the PDP is, deciding to wait on what the APC will do. But at the end of the day, what matters most is what the party is bringing to Nigerians and what the party stands to, deliver to Nigerians. And at the end of the day, I feel that the APC is in the right place, to deliver good governance to Nigerians more than any other party.
Okay, let me just quickly ask you this final question. You of course, you're among the young progressives of the APC. Now, from your various conversations now with the current leadership of the party, and I'm not just talking about the national leadership now, leadership even at the governor's level and all of that, the leadership in totality now. Do you get the impression from your various conversations that the party is ready to yield ground to young people like yourself, so that young people like yourself, I mean, the young ones now begin to take some very prominent role in the affairs of the party, that they're given a chance, for instance, to run for offices and all of that?
Yes, like I said, the progressive youth movement, one of the things we were agitating for between last year to beginning of this year was that we needed young people ages 45 and below to handle positions of authority within the NWC, which is 45 years and below, and the vice positions, basically, because we wanted the deputy and vice positions, which gives us the opportunity to learn and be tutored by, the older ones, so that we can take over reins, as the case, as the years go by. And I believe that in our conversation so far with various stakeholders, both from the presidency to, the leadership of the party and even at the governor's level, we have come to that conclusion that this, should and will happen. And like I said, that's why we decided to, calm down and, decide that, let's take a more an approach that, fits purpose and dialogue in terms of dialoguing with each other. And so far so good. They have, included, young people in the convention committee, set up. They've also alluded to ensuring that, what we are agitating for in terms of young people in the NWC, they decided that they're going to give us, various slots to, to pick, young people who will fit in those slots. And for us, it's not just because you are young, but we're looking for people who have strength of character, who has a party at the back of their mind and development of Nigeria, or the interests of Nigeria paramount to their mind. Those are the type of youth we're going to present to our party leadership to say these are the kind of candidates we want to be able to see in the NWC.
All right, Tonya Isukariri, thank you very much for joining us on the program, and thank you very much for your insights there. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll take a short break now, and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, when the Zamfara State Governor Bello Matawalle decided to defect from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress, and his deputy Mahdi Aliyu Gusau chose not to defect with him, we all knew the deputy governor was asking for trouble and that it was only a matter of time before he was removed from office. That has been, if you like, the standard practice. Every governor in this country who had defected to another party didn't join every governor now who had defected to another party and the deputy didn't join the governor in doing so, such deputy eventually gets removed from office by every means. Now, whether legal or illegal. Of course, we've had situations where the courts overturned such removal, but by then the damage would have been done, and such a deputy never in the actual sense of it regained their true position again. So when Governor Matawalle decided to move against his deputy, it really didn't come as a surprise, and there was always going to be one outcome of the impeachment process begun by the State House of Assembly, and that's removal. That's exactly how it's all played out now. Even when the now former deputy governor cited a court order restricting his impeachment, the members now of the State House of Assembly went ahead with the process, bringing up charges of abuse and of course gross misconduct now, among other things, against the former deputy governor. And of course, Mr. Gusau did not appear before the State Assembly or the panel set up to investigate him. Perhaps he knew his appearance would actually not change anything anyway. So to cut a long story short, he was removed from office and the replacement was announced immediately. Senator Mohammed Hassan Nasiha, who until his appointment was a serving senator, is now the deputy governor of Zamfara State. But I can tell you, we have certainly not heard the last of this case. The court will surely make a pronouncement at some point, since the case had always been in court even before the impeachment process began. Now, let's discuss this some more. Monday Ubani is a legal practitioner and chairman of MBA section on Public Interest and Development Law, SPIDL. He joins us via Skype now from Owerri. Thank you very much, Mr. Ubani, for joining us on the program. This impeachment, of course, would not come to you as a surprise, not in any way. We've seen this over and over again.
Yeah, that is correct. The moment the governor left the party that brought him to power and moved over to another political party, ordinarily, I'm sure he was expecting the deputy also to go alongside with him. The moment it was very clear that the deputy governor was not going along with him, we all knew that for such intransigency, for such disobedience to the order of the governor, that he will not last long in that position. And that is actually what has played out, as you rightly analyzed in your broadcast. The point is that the deputy was living on a borrowed time, and they will naturally come up with all manner of excuses why they should remove him, especially on the grounds of gross misconduct, which is actually the provision of the Constitution. Normally, they would just allege those gross misconduct. All manner of allegations are levied against the deputy governor, and the next thing is that they go along and remove him. But the problem with such removal is that ordinarily, nobody should contest the removal process by the members of the assembly. I mean, it is there in the Constitution. They have to probably, comply with the provisions of the Constitution. Nobody is going to question the authority to do that. The only problem they have always had, and which the court most times have always used as an excuse to overturn their decision, is that they don't, exercise some level of patience in order to go through the entire process as prescribed by the Constitution. That has always been the problem. If you go through this process now, you find out that one way or the other they would have erred, in their bid to remove him. And of course, at the end of the day, the court will naturally, just like what happened in Imo State recently, overturn that decision. But then the damage would have been done. He's not going to be the deputy governor. He won't go back to that seat anymore and all that. So that again is something we need to sit down and discuss. Could this be the reason, for this particular provision in the Constitution? The framers of the Constitution that says you can remove a governor or a deputy on grounds of misconduct, did they mean that for any reason whatsoever, including this one that had just happened, the members of the National Assembly, the members of the Assembly can just remove a person that is elected, at the end of the day, and that suffices, and that becomes the position. The man loses that position, even though the court may pronounce that it was illegal. What manner of compensation should be given to that person who has been wrongly removed by the members? And then what punishment should be meted out to those who have done things that are clearly at variance with the provisions of the Constitution? So that is another angle we have to probably deepen the discussion about and know how we can be able to solve that problem. For now, the deputy governor is a gunner. That is not going to be going to come back to that seat anymore because they have actually removed him, even though he's going to pursue in the court. And the court may likely pronounce that particular process and procedure was illegal. But he's gone.
And I can just imagine how this case would drag in court, because whatever the court decides, the governor and his team may decide to appeal it, and there's even every likelihood that this may go to the Supreme Court. And you can imagine the time this will take. Now, the governor, there's a case against the governor in court already for even defecting to the APC in the first place. I know that the PDP brought up that suit against him. That case is still in court. Could we say one of the reasons why the deputy governor decided not to join the governor is because he probably was hoping that, look, if the court was to make a pronouncement that the governor's defection was not in order, and maybe go ahead to say the governor would have to lose his seat for defecting, then somehow, since the deputy governor did not defect, he automatically would become the governor. Could that be why this deputy governor decided not to join the governor in defecting in the first place?
Well, even though the case is naturally in court, but I tell you this, any pursuit, in court over a defection of a governor to another political party is clearly a pursuit of a novel jurisprudence. Because the Constitution itself is very silent as to remove a governor defective. It is a different thing entirely if it's a member of the House. There are consequences, especially if you don't have any good reason for defecting to another political party as a member of the House. But when it comes to issue of governor, the Constitution is clearly silent about it. And it will be very, very novel for anyone to pursue the matter of a defection of a governor in a court and probably expect the court's pronouncement in their favor. It's a novel area. And we're looking forward towards the pronouncement of the court with regards to that. But it also will be somebody expecting the impossible if the deputy governor was actually hoping that probably there will be a pronouncement of the court that will clearly, declare the defection of the governor illegal. Because as I said earlier, there is absence of constitutional provision with the governor going to another political party. There is no any restriction whatsoever for a governor doing that. Unlike the members of the lawmakers, where the Constitution has made a provision that this is the reason under which they can probably move over. But for governor, it is clearly silent. So if he's hoping that there may be a positive pronouncement of the court in his favor that will make him now the governor, he's hoping clearly on an impossibility. But I tell you this, it may not be the reason that he's hoping. He may have taken a stand. And that is a principal standard. I came through this political party as a deputy governor. Why will my governor even want to move over to another political party without even discussing with me, maybe carrying me along? And let me know the reason why I am jumping to another political party, be different from the political party that brought me to power. Maybe it's a matter of being a principled man who doesn't want to be a high political highlight, which the governor actually, is. Going by the pronouncement he made when he was elected, that he's not going to, God forbid, and even swore with his life. But this is a governor that moved to another political party and has not given us very good reason why he made that move, but it is personal to him. So my thinking is that the deputy governor really, was on a suicidal note, move when he refused to go along with the governor. It is only a matter of time. The way we play politics in Nigeria, they would naturally want to remove him. Then with all manner of, reasons being advanced, because the gross misconduct was not even properly defined by, in the Constitution. And so whatever the term gross misconduct becomes gross misconduct. The only problem the members of the Assembly have always had with removal of either governor or deputy is that they are majorly impatient in complying with the express provision of the Constitution, because the Constitution is very elaborate. The procedure and process you have to follow. The moment you miss one, then the court now will declare that particular removal invalid. But as to whether they have the power to remove somebody on grounds of misconduct, which they have a right to define whatever it amounts to, the Constitution has given them that leeway. Or maybe we have to change the Constitution to, tomorrow. For now, the members of National Assembly, the members of the State House of Assembly can remove a governor, a deputy governor, on a matter they consider to be gross misconduct. Whatever it is whatever they describe it to be. But if they fail to follow the provisions of the Constitution, that is always where they fall foul, and that is always where they have problem with the court, and the court will always pronounce such removal invalid.
Let me ask you this, because it's become like a talking point, if you like, and it's something that everyone has been talking about. Me too. It's actually left me wondering. Are you surprised that a serving senator? Are you surprised that a serving senator would choose to become the deputy governor of a state? Because this man, who is now the deputy governor, is a serving senator, and when you look at the ranking, people have been asking, why would someone who is a senator, who is perceived to be even higher, his position would appear to be higher, and perhaps that position of being a senator might probably be more relevant than being a deputy governor. Why would such a man now decide to come and become a deputy governor?
You're putting me in a very straight jacket. It's a question of what do you like, Deji? There are those who may not want to be a senator, who want to be a deputy governor. There are those who want to be a governor, they want to be a senator, and then, they don't even want to be a governor. Now, as a deputy governor, you are now His Excellency. You sort of control some level of budget. While as an ordinary member of the Senate, he may be just an ordinary member of a committee. He's not a Senate president. He's not in any of the.
The reason I asked you that question is because we know how governors, we know how governors in this country relate with their deputies. We've always used that expression that deputy governors are just like spare tires. You hardly hear from them. Yes. You only see them. They're just meant to be seen and not heard. And I'm just wondering.
Well, if this man happens to be his buddy, he's his friend, he's his pal, and they relate so well, you find out that the governor may like him so much that he'll be giving him a lot of responsibility. At the same time, also give him some sort of money in order to run that position as a deputy governor. And he end up, even becoming richer than when he was, when he occupied the position of a senator. So it's a matter of interest. It's also a matter of the relationship he has with the governor. If the governor likes him so much, I can assure you that you'll be giving him responsibility. And without additional responsibility, come with money and also come with respect. And it's what do you like? What do you want in life? He's going to go with a larger convoy than when he was a senator. He's now nearer home. He's now nearer home as a politician. Are you following me? Being home is different from being in Abuja. So he's home now, and he's going to play grassroots politics, and have more. Who knows? He may likely want to be a governor in 4 years' time after the exit of this time. So it's a question of what do you want. He may just end up in Abuja there as an ordinary senator who doesn't control budget, who doesn't control anything. But here as a deputy governor, he controls a little bit of budget. The man likes him as a buddy. They relate so well. The man gives you additional responsibility. And in 4 years' time, he becomes the governor. So what does he want? It's what he wants. And that is why he's pursuing it and all that. And I think that, to me, is what the man desires and wants. That is why he has taken this position. It may look awkward to certain persons, but I tell you, the man has his eye on a certain thing, and he knows where he's headed as a person. Anyway,
in fact, we've had a situation in this country where a former senator would later become a commissioner. We've had it in Lagos here. So what am I talking about? A former senator has become a commissioner in this state, in Lagos State. So not a surprise.
It's what he wants. That's what he wants here. And they want to remain relevant. They want to remain relevant at any point in time. That's what makes a politician. It's the issue of relevance that matters to them. It's not a question of position now, being a senator. He wants to remain relevant. And this position he has taken may make him more relevant in the state, and he may eventually end up being the governor of that particular state. So it is a question of what he desires, what he wants.
I think I understand you perfectly. Thank you very much, Mando Bani. Thank you very much for joining us on
Thank
the
you for
program.
having me.
Thank you for your insight.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate. Well, that's how much we can take on the program this week. We thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.